If you can find within yourself the part of you that wants to constantly give something more than yourself, if you can find a mission larger than yourself, then you're more pulled to do something than trying to push yourself. There's always two pains in life. There's the pain of discipline, or there's the pain of regret. And discipline weighs ounces, as my friend Jim Rohn taught me. Regret weighs tons. You don't want to have regret.
Get serious. Life is serious. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said, yes, I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Right? Death seems to want to move in prematurely. If you want to live a good, long, flourishing life, you got to push back. Can't just give in. You got to push back.
Have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. And that each and every one of us, when we close our mind to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us. Having an open mind doesn't necessarily mean finding fault with all of the things that you've been taught by others. It means opening yourself up to the potentiality and the possibility that anything and everything is possible.
I think everybody is born with hunger. Like there's a desire to grow, to expand, to learn, and then disappointment sets in early in life for most people. And then we look to blame something outside of ourselves. And there are many events in our lives that can affect us all. We've all had pain and challenges. What do these people need to get started? Why aren't they starting? We all know the answer is fear. But the difference with you guys or me or anybody who's followed through is we're more afraid of what life would be like if we don't follow through than the person who's willing to settle for what they got and kind of hope it'll change and maybe purchase something for the moment and then not follow through on it. It's almost like people, overachievers, have a little more fear. They're a little more afraid of missing out. They're afraid of not being there, or they got a strong enough reason to follow through. So I'd say if you're looking at home, you want to give somebody some value, go, where do I start? I'm sick of this. That's a damn good place. Once you break through, then it just becomes a game. The people that are getting your products have not yet broken through in most cases. The breakthrough happens by conditioning your mind every day, by feeding it a role model or story. It's putting yourself in a peak state where you follow through by getting physically strong. It's creating a little ritual of doing a little bit each day, and then you get momentum. The most important thing of all is what we start out with. Why? Why is it a must for you? It doesn't have to be you're against the wall, but it has to be something you're hungry for, because the only difference in people is hunger. And if you're not hungry, get around people that are hungry and something will hit you. First person you have to influence is yourself. You know, whether you're fit or fat, whether your kids are on drugs or not, it's who has more influence, the guy on the street corner or you. Whether you're fit or fat is can you influence your own hands, your own body, your own mind to do what's necessary. Most people are so afraid to fail that they come up with this whole story that it's worse than it is. And of course, when you make it worse than it is, it overwhelms you, and now you won't begin. I've tried, what will people say? I've tried everything. If you tried everything, you'd have what you want.
I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. I've viewed myself as, slightly above average in talent. And where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. While the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working.
How could we possibly improve? This is called the possibility for life change. Starts with education. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in picking up the ideas. Don't be lazy in learning from your own experience. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of life change.
My mom was a powerful woman, so she kicked my fourth father out, whose name I carry. And he adopted me, and when he went out, she decided it wasn't his side, so she kicked me out too by chasing me out with a knife. And I wasn't worried she was going to stab me or anything, but I decided this is freedom, and I've got to find a way to make my life work. But I had no money. I had a 1960 Volkswagen. I worked $40 a week as a janitor to buy and pay for. And so I had no car, I had no money, I had no anything. I went and slept in a person's laundry room, and then I decided I've got to figure out what to do, and I needed to feed my mind because I was so depressed, I was so overwhelmed, I'm missing my brother and sister and feeling just completely out of sorts. So I got on a bus and I traveled 14 miles, I remember, because I ended up running it one time. And I went to this bookstore and I bought this book called The Magic of Believing by Claudia Bristol. It's the first real book other than maybe Think and Grow Rich or Emerson's essays. And I started on this journey of saying every single day I'm going to feed my mind. I'm not going to hope good thoughts show up. I'm going to read biographies. I'm going to find out what makes people tick. I'm going to understand what makes me tick. And I wanted to read a book a day, but I didn't do that. I took a speed reading class and I read 700 books over 7 years. And they were all personal development, human development, psychology, physiology. And then what I try to do is take anything that I learned and apply it. And then when I applied it, I was 5'1" in my sophomore year in high school. I'm 6'7" now. I tell people the difference is personal growth. But sincerely, I became Mr. Solution because I wanted to help everybody. So I was this little... And I couldn't lose weight, and I lost weight. All my buddies are like, how'd you do that? And I said, well, here's what I did. They lost weight, and then we all got girls. And that led to, as a young kid, that led to where, if you had a problem, I was Mr. Solution. Especially if you're a girl, I was more motivated to help you. So the breakthrough was really understanding the power of compressing decades into days. And if someone has spent decades of their life, and they compress it into a book, and you... read it in an hour or a few days, you have such an advantage because when you learn by your own experience, it's painful and it's slow. When you learn by other people's experience, everybody knows in the financial world, other people's money is leverage, right? Well, other people's experience is more powerful than other people's money because you can have the money and lose it. But if you get the experience, you can change it all. So I think that was the beginning for me, and it sent me on a lifelong path of hunger. I've never lost my hunger. You get on an airplane, what's the first thing they say? If we get into trouble, mask will come down, oxygen's there, and the first thing you got to do is put it on your kid, right? No, why? Who do they tell you to put it on? Yourself, you selfish bastard. What's the deal here, right? But it's because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't care of them. So for leaders, what I always tell them is, it's you first. It starts with you, and it starts with your psychology. 80%. Growing a business, if you look at what the chokehold is on a business, it's always the leader. And 80% of that chokehold is the psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. People in this room know the mechanics and strategies beyond what anybody on earth knows in their category. So it's really about you being in the state where you execute. It's like I always tell people, knowledge is not power, it's total BS. Knowledge is potential power. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week, and so my life is, how do you get yourself to execute? And execution comes from learning to put yourself in that right state every day. How do I help people to break through? The question is, what are you breaking through to? In essence, all of us at some level, to feel alive, have to always feel like we're growing. When people ask me, what does it take to be happy? I always tell them one word: progress. Progress equals happiness.